Hi there, WOW friends. It's Adele Kingan here from the Wellbeing Weekly. Welcome to your practice today. I think it's roughly 45, 50-minute practice to really get to know the support you can recruit and really true lines of connection in your body for things like back bends and arm balances. And we break down a little bit back bend lying on your back in bridge pose, and then prone back bend lying on your belly, and then side plank, areas where we tend to hold and grip and really resist and get stuck. This is a practice to peel away those habits to and push, to soften it, recruit true strength, and in that recruit true knowledge, true wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge put into action. So we do slow things down quite a bit here. It's a really focused practice. It's not a pacey dynamic practice. I have other practices on YouTube for that. This is more instructional, more of a tutorial, but most definitely in this strengthening practice that is letting go to know a little bit more about yourself and what's possible. It's very true, not only for these practices, these physical shapes you do here on your mat, but a tutorial for how you move and show up and act in your life. And so with that, come along and just see what you experience with zero expectation. And the only prop we're going to draw upon is a block. So something like a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, a really fat blanket or rolled up towel would be great. And it's just something to put between your legs to really activate the inner line of your legs. So go get that, get yourself ready, and we'll get started. Okay, so come to lie on your back with your yoga block or your makeshift yoga block in what we call a supported bridge pose. So you'll place your feet about hip distance apart, pointing straight ahead. Take your block, press into your feet to lift your hips up, and slide your block on its lowest level, right behind your pelvis. So not the curve of your lower back, so you're not kind of splaying open over your block that way, but right down low, where you find that flat portion in the back of your pelvis, the flat triangle bone that is your sacrum. Rest the back of your pelvis there on your block. If it feels comfortable to you, you could close your eyes. Notice the weight of your pelvis on the block and see if you could get a little bit heavier there. The supporting surface of your block, like you're draping your pelvis almost in liquid form over your block. And if you need to adjust your block, if you feel it's not quite as comfortable and supportive as it could be, you've got time to move it and adjust it. And then come back to that place where you can get a little bit heavier in the bones of your pelvis, heavier in the bones of your legs. Giving your weight to gravity, resting into the pull of gravity, which is often quite different to our Western day-to-day rush, force, push, busy, 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 move, move, move life. This is a completely opposite action. Instead of resisting and pushing away from gravity and holding tension up in our body, I want you to give your weight and all that tension, all that resistance down into gravity. Almost like the earth could absorb your stress, your holding patterns, your gripes. You might start to notice how your spine can get a little bit heavier, almost like it's draping down towards the floor, decompressing. Attuning and aligning your spine in a really free, spacious way. As you give your weight to gravity, you connect to this sustaining life force that is the earth beneath you. Rest your arms into that, the back of your shoulders into that, the back of your head into that, your jaw, your forehead, your skin. And as you rest there, become really sensitive to the support beneath you, the sustaining life force beneath you. As you revel in letting go into that support, and the length, the elongation of your exhale can really help facilitate that. So it might be that you turn your drishti, your inner gaze, to focus on the length of your exhale, that complete action of emptying out, of letting go. So the newness of the next inhale can flood in, fill you up, and there's a lightness and a buoyancy, a revitalizing aspect to it. And as you experience that for yourself, you might notice there's an internal response to the support of earth beneath you, your inner body. An energetic response that feels a bit lighter, a bit freer. Giving your worries, what makes you tense, those things you grip onto, that you hold on to, down into earth, down into gravity. We can start to experience true freedom in our body-mind. Marinate in that. One more big full breath in. And exhale, long, 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 long breath out, empty out. Then press into your feet to lift your hips just enough to slide out the block from underneath you. Rest your hips back down onto the floor. Notice what remains there where the block was. Then take your block and place your block between your inner thighs. So like so, right up high in the inner line of your legs. You may need to adjust your feet so you can really now start to hug the block with your inner legs, your inner thighs. And notice it's not a gripping at the top of your glutes and getting really tight up there. I want you to keep that really heavy and weighted down towards the floor. And the activity, the enlivening aspect, is just simply in the inner line of your legs. There's a warming aspect to it, and that warming aspect will take you all the way into your core. So keep squeezing that block there. Building a lot of fortitude and strength in that inner line. Take you a bit deeper. And there's a strengthening aspect of this very generous act of letting go. So build the fortitude, build the commitment. Layer that on with your breath. Drishti, internal gaze on the breath. Good, one more. Exhale. Good, and then remove your block. Place it off to the side. Bring the soles of your feet together. Allow your knees to drop wide out to the side. So there's an opposite action, the inner thighs lengthening. Notice the experience of that. Sensing perhaps release or space. Notice if there's any residue gripping. Oftentimes I notice I'm gripping unconsciously around one hip or around the glute muscle. The glute max oftentimes, really up high oftentimes. So let that go. Rest back into gravity. And then do this for me. Rub your palms together. So there's sensing of this warming aspect. Energy that you're creating there between the palm of your hands, almost akin to that warmth and energy you created between your legs by hugging the block. And with your eyes closed and that warmth, that buzzing energy in your hands, I'd like you to place your hands on a place in your body where you feel a sense of hardening, or there's pent-up tension where you grip. It might be a place where you feel really stuck or blocked. And place your hands where there's that localized experience of that tension or that stress or that obstruction. Now the warming, nurturing aspect of your hands to settle onto that place. And then with the support of your hands and the support of earth beneath you, the support of your drishti focusing on the length, the elongation, the letting go aspect of your exhale. Consider what it would be like to drop that holding, to clear the obstruction, to let go of the tension, to give it up to gravity. Inhale, you create room and space around it. Now you've localized it so you can witness it and observe it. And the inhale moves into it. And the exhale, it kind of picks it up. Carry it on the wave of your breath out, scooping out that debris, mobilizing it, moving it through. And then rest your arms down by your sides. Take hold of the outside of your knees. Help your legs together. Walk your feet as wide as your mat. Knock your knees together. And notice what remains. After letting go and the mobilization, what's left? And then reset your feet back to hip distance apart. Point your knees directly up to the ceiling. You should be able to reach around and swipe the back of your heels with your fingertips. You might need to walk your feet a little bit closer to your butt to get there. And then place your block back between your thighs once more. Squeeze your block a lot. I want you to reach around and actually touch your butt and notice if you're gripping right high up in the flesh of your butt, up the top. And get really heavy there, almost like there's a block there behind the back of your pelvis, like we started off with. And the activation is the inner line of the legs. Okay, now squeeze the block a lot to maintain that strengthening activation, which takes you into the depths of your core. As you now reach around and move underneath the flesh of your butt, so right around the curve of your butt, more towards where the back of your thighs are, and press into there. You'll find two bony protuberances, so it's right down low. It's not up here in the middle butt, right down low to find your sit bones. You may need to press in there quite a lot. I want you to imagine like an electrical charge, like a current of energy from your sit bones to your heels. You could almost imagine it like those old-fashioned pantyhose with a seam down the back. And illuminate with your mind's eye that line from your sit bones to your heel, so right sit bone to right heel, left sit bone to left heel. Keep squeezing your block. And then on your next inhale, lift your hips up off the floor. As you squeeze your block, the top of your thighs roll in. There's space in the back of your pelvis, and the power is coming from your sit bones, reaching to the back of your knees, reaching down to your heels. So you're not gripping at the top of your glutes and cutting off all this energy and wisdom from your spine and the energy and wisdom from your feet. So squeeze that block a lot. If you need to reach around and palpate your sit bones again, find that electrical current of energy. One more big inhale. And exhale, release your hips back down. Move your block off to the side. Bring the soles of your feet together. Drop your knees out wide. Bring your hands together again. Rub your hands together. And once more, place your hands on your body. Where you feel you need a little bit more support, a facilitation to let go. Just like material possessions can take up a lot of room and space in our life, I think sometimes we literally carry boxes full and suitcases full of residues of our past, resentments and unforgiven moments, and carry around like heavy backpacks, expectations, and often disappointments that come from failed expectations, things that haven't been delivered, backpacks of plans, of tasks, of must do, be more, have more, obligations. And what would it be to unpack those suitcases, to lighten the load, have a truer sense of freedom in this body-mind? And placing your hands on your body as you really admit to yourself what you're carrying that's taking up too much space. And with the support of earth beneath you, your hands on your body, what it is to let that go. And particularly expectation, there will be a felt experience of where it is in your body. And when you have the experience of it, you can make a choice about what you do with it, mobilizing it, moving it, shifting it. It's how awareness is transformative, just admitting to yourself what you're carrying. And with each long exhale, making the choice to mobilize it and move it through. And that's not controlling it. That's different. You're recognizing that it's not controlling you or owning you, and you let it go. It releases its grip on you. Then move your hands down by your sides. Notice what remains there after that. And take your hands to the outside of your knees. Help your legs together again. Take your block between your thighs once more. Squeeze your block. Find that electrical current of energy from sit bones to heels, and you can palpate there if you need to. This time, arms down by your sides. Press into your feet. Squeeze your block. Lift your hips. Illuminate that line of connection from right sit bone to right heel. And extend your left leg straight out in front of you. Keep squeezing the block. Inhale, lift your hips. And exhale, dip your pelvis down towards the floor. Don't quite touch. And then right sit bone, activate it. Inhale, lift your hips. Exhale, lower your hips down towards the floor. Keep squeezing your block. Inhale, lift your hips up. Right sit bone, right heel. Then exhale, lower. Good. One more like that. Inhale, lift your hips. Then exhale, lower the left foot. Squeeze your block a lot. Illuminate left sit bone, left heel. Space in the back of the sacrum. Space around the top of the glutes. And then next inhale, extend your right leg straight out in front of you. So it's on a diagonal. Then as you exhale, dip your hips down towards the floor. Lifting your hips, not from gripping your jaw or the top of your glutes, but from the left sit bone. Inhale. Exhale, lower and dip. Inhale. Exhale, lower and dip. Inhale, lift your hips. Exhale, lower the right foot. Squeeze the block a lot. Inhale. And exhale, release all the way down. Good, good stuff. Move your block off to your side. Pick up your knees. Circle your knees around. So you're not going into deep flexion. Often that tends to be more of a muscular action where we get grippy in the flexion and the hip flexors and we pull down on the lower back. So just mobilize a little bit more movement. The thigh bone rolling around in its home of the hip socket. You can circle in opposite directions. You can reach your legs up, wide out to the side. It's free-form movement, noticing physically where you hold and grip, but how that might translate to other aspects of you as well. Bring it into conscious awareness, into movement. The sensing aspect, giving you a lot of information. And that knowledge you put into action, into movement, it becomes wisdom. Wisdom that helps you find a greater sense of freedom. You can roll over to your side and make your way up and over into your downward facing dog. Sending your hands out in front of you. Imagine there's a block there between your thighs as you tuck your toes. Squeeze that imaginary block. Inhale, broaden your chest. So you start from a place of breadth and opening. And you maintain that, you fortify it, you strengthen it. As you exhale, send energy down your arms into your hands, through your inner thighs, press your inner thighs back wide. Notice that moment where you might lose the connection of sit bones to heels by jamming your knees back and pulling down on your lower back. So if you look at me, if I jam my knees back and pull down on my lower back, there's a rounding. So instead you could bend your knees, squeeze your imaginary block, press your imaginary block with your inner thighs back behind you. Notice how I get length to the curve of my lower back. And maintaining that length, slow motion, start to work your legs towards straight. That seam, that electrical charge from sit bones to heels, maintain it. As you take a full expression in your down dog. A lot more freedom as you reach down through your legs and your arms. Freedom in your spine, honoring the natural curves, maintaining that length in your lower back. It's not about getting the legs straight or the head to the thighs. That's different. And as you experience your down dog here in a different way, you might notice places in which you collapse or harden or get rigid. And from that noticing, inquire with your movement how you could start to mobilize those aspects of you that get rigid, that harden, that grip, where there's resistance and fight. It might be how in which you really resist and push away from the floor and you scrunch up around your shoulders. And what it would be just to soften, to organically move, with less focus on making this a pretty little package on the outside in your down dog. More about liberating what you're starting to sense and feel is really true for you. And then drishti on your exhale, this aspect of letting go with the fortitude and strength of honoring it. Honoring the act of letting go, seeing what remains. If you're feeling you're getting stuck, sticky in your wrists because it's not familiar to you to be on your hands for a long period of time, you could come down onto your knees, walk your hands out. And that's information for you for next time to maybe spend a little bit more time warming up your wrists in this way. A little bit more time being clear on how you establish the hands, spread through the fingers, plug into the finger pads so much so it's almost like you could lift your wrists away from the floor. And giving a little bit more weight into your hands. It's different to collapsing. A little bit more weight into your hands to meet that life-sustaining, nourishing support underneath you, almost like earth has got hands underneath you, mirroring your hands. Feeding energy up your arms into the back of your heart. There's a lift and a buoyancy into the back of your heart that you can then establish back in your down dog. Establish this fortitude, this strength in your legs and the thighs back wide and apart again. Sit bones to heels. And as you be still in your down dog, beneath the need to control the shape, to get the alignment perfect, beneath the need to make this something, to have an outcome, to get more from it, if you could drop all of that, knowing that you've aligned beautifully, energetically, the way in which you're showing up here, moving and paying attention, what remains beneath all of that need to control, They have an outcome, an expectation. What remains? Rest into that, even as things start to wobble and shake. And exhale, come down to your knees, take your knees wide back to child's pose. Notice what's here. Place your hands under your shoulders. Inhale, sit upright. Sit back on your heels. If you've done my feet practice, I highly encourage you to tuck your toes and sit on your heels that way. Arms wide out to the side, big inhale. Exhale, glide your right arm under your left arm, wrap your forearms. Elbows up in front of you, draw your shoulder heads back. And reach through crown, reach through fingertips. Binding yourself all up here. And with your breath, your drishti on the exhale, as you give a little bit more of your weight to gravity, so you're not holding away, instead you're resting down into. Perhaps there is a felt experience of freedom even within the bind. And it's not the bind itself, the pose itself, that's limiting you, but with something else, like an electrical chemical charge that was a thought or an emotion that you need to emote to move through. Release your arms, roll through there. Like quite literally, we often carry the backpack of burden and the expectation of doing around the shoulders. What we want to come back to in this practice is a state of being, and really sharing that state of being that is raw and real in us. It's not perfectly packaged in a nice little bow. And point your toes, and you can move your toes out. Lean back on your fingertips. This is from the feet practice as well. Stretch through the front of your feet, lift your heart. And then sit on your shins once more. If you can, go for it, tuck your toes. So good, so therapeutic. Inhale, arms wide. This time, exhale, the other arm on top. Left arm on top. Shoulders back. Lighten your fingertips and crown, even as you get a bit heavier. So there's this reciprocal action of releasing weight down into the arms of gravity, of resting into gravity. And as you become really sensitized, there's a buoyant response back up. When you find that base of support into that sustaining life support down, there's a buoyant response, almost like a press back up, a lift, a lightness, a naturalness to being here. I would describe it as a manifesting current grounding down and a liberating current moving up. And the balance in the middle of those currents is you. Okay, can you simply be with that? A few more rounds of breath. Long, long breath out. And unravel the arms, reach forwards, bat the toes out again. And then this time, take your block once more. Place your block between your inner thighs. And I actually suggest doing it this way if you can. So it might be a really fat towel if you don't have a block. Tuck your toes. Bring this into movement. Send your hands wide, outer shoulder width apart. Sometimes we literally close off possibility and freedom and space by hardening in here, by going really narrow with our hands. So perhaps explore going a little bit wider. Fan through your fingers, plug into your finger pads. Imagine earth there, mirroring your hands, pressing up into you, feeding up into the back of your heart. Then as you squeeze your block, initiate movement from your block, press your thighs back and wide, ripple through your spine, lift the front of your heart, the crown of your head. Then on your exhale, squeeze your block. So you're initiating the movement from your block. round your spine, press down into your hands, look towards your belly. Then with breath, inhale, squeeze your block back wide, ripple through your spine, lift your chest, lift your crown. Exhale, squeeze your block, round, press into your hands, look towards your belly. Keep going like that. Inhale. And exhale. And if you close your eyes and really slow the movement down, you become sensitized to those parts of your spine that might be blocked or blank. Those parts of your spine where it's almost like the movement, the sequencing of the movement rippling through your spine skips. And it moves from one part of your spine and it skips and it moves to the other part of your spine. As you stay with this practice a few more rounds, we'll start to unclear some of those blocks. And next inhale, look forwards, broaden. Exhale, tuck your toes. Keep looking forwards as you push your thighs back and wide. And then the last little bit is your head releasing down. You're not collapsing your chest down. Then on your inhale, lift your hips even higher. Exhale, roll onto the outside edge of your left foot, your left hand. And if you've got your block there, your right foot will be up in space. Squeeze your block, lift your hips. That left shoulder packing in, maybe reach your right arm. Keep plugging in that left shoulder. Reach from sit bones to heels, reach through crown. One more big inhale. And exhale back through down dog. And thighs back and wide, heart buoyant and full. Take a big inhale, keep your hips lifted. Exhale, roll onto the outside edge of your right foot, right hand. Keep squeezing that block so you're not gripping around the top of your glutes. Instead, you're sending energy from your sit bones to your heels. Pack that right shoulder into the back of your heart. Then unfurl from that place. Maybe left arm up, reach through crown. Then inhale back to down dog. And exhale down to your knees. Sit back, remove the block. Same movement, this time without the block. So we have the imaginary block. And I'm cueing you into side plank, vasistasana from down dog. As a reminder, from the support of earth underneath you, to find a sense of naturalness, of lightness, of buoyancy. Sometimes when we come through plank, we're like here. And we're all saggy and collapsed, like energetically, we're like, and then there's a lot of force that we have to apply and building fight and resistance in our body to get this sense of lightness. You can kind of see that, right? And also see what's happening here at the juncture of my arm bone and shoulder. It's kind of like walking around like this. So from down dog, keep the hips lifted and a diagonal line from the hand to the shoulder. So it can be a clear line of support with the ribs that are really buoyant and full with your lungs and your heart, with the support of earth. And it's almost like you're like that in your side plank, rather than like that, exacerbating those holding tendencies. So instead of this, a lot of fight in the body. We're here, through the legs, and it's this. Okay? Set yourself up in child's pose first. I think you just got a little bit heady overthinking that. So I want you to come back down into child's pose first. Settle there. Receive your breath. Turn your drishti once more back to the length, the letting go aspect of the exhale. Allow the inhale to come. New moment, new information. This practice of non-clinging, of non-gripping, of letting go of resistance and force. We allow what comes to come, what wants to go. And it's not that we're completely detached or disassociated. We have the presence, the support, the knowledge of truth, to care deeply, to enjoy ecstatically, but without the need to get something, without the need for an outcome. Remember that as we go through this next flow. Care deeply, align energetically, enjoy it, your body alive. And as you let go, notice what remains beneath it. You place your hands under your shoulders. Inhale, come back up. Rub your palms together. Place your hands on your body where perhaps you feel a residue of being tight or rigid or stuck. And send your hands out in front of you. On all fours, fortify and strengthen. Spread through your fingers, firm your arms, firm your legs. On your inhale, thighs back, ripple through your spine. Buoyant in your chest, look up. Exhale, press and round. Inhale, curl, look forwards, thighs back. Keep looking forwards, last little bit. Exhale, lower the head, reach from sit bones to heels. Next, inhale, roll into the outside edge of your left foot. Notice the diagonal line from your left hand to draw the shoulder into a greater structure of support in your ribs. Exhale, reach through heels, reach through fingertips and crown. Then inhale, come back through down dog. Keep your hips high. Exhale, roll over to the other side, outside edge of right foot, right hand. Notice the angles. Align energetically, then let go into that. Exhale. Inhale. This time to plank pose. Stay here as you exhale. Reach from sit bones to heels. Your hips won't sag when you find that true line. Then next inhale, as you keep your heels reaching back, send your heart forwards, look forwards, reach through the crown of your head. Exhale, lower chaturanga for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, up and back. Downward facing dog. So that little cheeky practice there, if you notice you went too low and you couldn't get back up, that's information for you for next time to not go too low. And really recruit as you send your heart forwards the back of your shoulders so you're not collapsing in the front of that shoulder head. Good, same sequence again. Inhale down to your knees, look forwards. Exhale, round into cat pose. Inhale, look forwards, thighs back. Moving up to down dog. Exhale, sit bones to heels, release the head. Inhale, over to the left side, vasistasana. You can always step your foot behind you or in front of you to help maintain this experience of lightness. Then transition to the other side through down dog, big inhale. Exhale, vasistasana, right hand, right foot. Inhale, this time to plank. Reach from sit bones to heels, through heart, through crown, like there's a string on the crown of your head. Keep reaching forwards, forwards, forwards as you lower. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, up and back. Downward facing dog. Last round. Exhale down to your knees. Inhale, look forwards. Exhale and round. Inhale, look forwards, thighs back. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, vasistasana, left hand, left foot. Exhale, change sides straight away. Right hand, right foot. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, down to your knees. Down to child's pose. Well done. Allow your breath, the beat of your heart, to fall into a natural rhythm after that really vitalizing movement. And after that powerful call to action, perhaps without even noticing and really being aware of it, you mobilize something. And again, notice what remains, what's beneath it. And glide your way forwards. Come to lie on your belly. Find your sit bones once more. Imagine there's a block there between your thighs. Roll the top of your thighs in. Press into your knees to stick your sit bones up, the top of your thighs up. A lot of space for your groins, a lot of space around your lower back. It's almost like Slimy, that inchworm from Sesame Street. Maintaining all that space. Now lengthen, extend energy down your sit bones to your heels. Your kneecaps will lift up. Place your thumbs at your side ribs. Roll your shoulders on your back. Inhale, glide up. And pause here. Notice if you tended to grip the top of your glutes. Soften it. The truth is in the lower glutes, under the sit bones there. Re-establish that. Press your knees, drag them forwards, find the breadth and space. And then reach. Press down into your hands. Glide up. You can pulse with it. Going from baby cobra to high cobra. With integrity in your lower back. Length. Strength from your core shooting out in every direction. This heat, this spark, now unobstructed. All your blockages cleared. Suitcases of worries, of stresses, of resentments left behind. You might go into locus, lifting up the soles of your feet, sit bones to heels, reach fingertips back, turn your thumbs up and experience the truth of you here. Something hardened, might have been the brain space, trying to extract something from this, trying to answer the question, what is the truth of me? What would it be to just soften and allow the experience to be the experience to have the information, the truth. Exhale and release. Stack your hands, elbows out to the side. Rest your forehead on your hands. And once more. From the collective of these experiences in this practice, as you drop beneath the questioning, I often see the practice of a parigraha, the non-clinging, the non-gripping, is most pertinent to a spiritual practice. We want to cling onto the need for answers. What is my purpose? What am I meant to do here, be here? How do I evolve? How do I be my highest offering? And we search and search for answers in books, and in gurus, and in people, and in situations. And we get to a point where we've exhausted everything and there's nowhere else to look but within. We turn our drishti, our gaze, from outside to inside. And for me, it's been my experience that the greatest practice of all for that, for non-clinging, for non-gripping, is my willingness to let go of the need for an answer, to let go of the need to know. And when we can come into that place, it takes a lot of strength, the fortification, the commitment to come into the place to go, okay, I don't need an answer, I don't need to know. When you're willing to unknow what you think you know, what you think you are, what defines you, the willingness to let go of trying to perfect this packaging and this offering, and come home into your flaws and your vulnerabilities. And this very generous act of unknowing, unknowing what you think you know, what you think you are, is the first step to really knowing. So I'll leave you with that. And it might be that you do a little bit more movement, some traditional sun salutations, really continuing to fortify the strengthening aspect, and interestingly, then the easeful aspect of sit bones to heels, supporting your spine, supporting the mind and your gut, supporting the mind and your heart, supporting your higher consciousness in the crown of your head. It might be that you roll on your back for a few stretches and you come back to that practice of rubbing your palms together, placing your hands on your body, where you can localize the experience of the need to know, the gripping, the search for answers in your body, and consciously invite yourself to let go. Make that your mantra, either in movement or with your hands on your body. And it could be as simple as inhaling, let, exhaling, go. When you catch your mind rushing to try and analyze or answer, come back to inhale, let, exhale, go. It's not disattaching or disassociating. It's not being apathetic. But it does carve out a lot more room to care deeply, to enjoy life fully, moment by moment truth. Letting the experience be the experience, and paradoxically in that, we begin to know a whole lot more. Create a whole lot more. And share this beingness with the world, which is really our purpose. Our truth, our beingness, to overflow with it and share it. What are you willing to unknow, to let go of? An aspect of what you think you are, to then really know. Take that with you into your practice the rest of your week, the practice of your life. Thank you for being here, for courageously stepping onto this journey, the strength that it takes to stay close to yourself, every breath, every movement, every moment. Namaste.